That's funeral.
Yeah, he's gonna come teach, isn't he?
No.
Who died?
I thought he was going to visitation and coming to teach.
No.
I thought he had to end this thing.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. We know everyone knows everyone here.
That's what I was thinking. Thanks a lot,
Thanks a
Judy.
lot, Julian.
What are we, chopped liver? Really? Man.
So everyone knows everyone here. We've been here before, right?
No, I'm not sharing my chocolate. I'm sorry, we gotta fight this out for a second.
Okay. Okay. This paper says it's Sunday, August the 2nd, the year 2026. Is that the correct date? Okay. I'm gonna read these names off. Y'all got anything to say? Hold your hand up. Does anyone know a David and Suzanne Brantley? I do. Paulette. Anybody heard anything on Paulette? Oh, yeah, she was here this morning. Yeah. Miss you, Paulette. Glad you're here this morning. Glad to see you this morning. We got two nations to pray for: America and Israel.
Every nation.
And who?
All the nations.
All the nations.
You were saying before that a lot of nations are helping Iran? Is that
No,
just against Israel?
China is providing Iran with bombs. Russia's supposed to be getting into it.
Russia got into it with somebody else, didn't it?
Well, they're supposed to be getting their nose in this too.
Hmm.
But like Saudi Arabia, France,
Egypt, Saudi Arabia,
the
Egypt,
UK, they're all helping the US and Israel fight because the dummies, whenever they were fighting with us, and then Trump put those tariffs on them and what do they call it, stipulations.
chair.
Well, they got mad, well, someone district where he's shopping. They got mad, so what they do, they start bombing all their neighbors, dummies. So of course, now the neighbors are mad, so it's like, okay, you're gonna have to be like that. They're jumping in.
Can you just push that?
Because a long time they weren't.
Strike down on me.
So we got potential for World
And he
War
almost got Saudi Arabia to sign that peace agreement. And I think that's what he's after talking about in the Bible.
Well, I'm gonna have that.
III. Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, folks, I haven't read these names yet, have I? I'm gonna read these names.
Robin,
If any of y'all have something to say, hold a hand up and I'll try to recognize you.
there you go.
Does anyone know a David and Suzanne Brantley? Pray for them. I know both of them and I care quite a bit for both of them when they act right.
Wow, how do you do that?
Who?
How do you do
But not listen to you.
that?
Okay, we got Paulette. Anybody heard anything on Paulette?
Put your reward on there, did you?
Paulette, we miss you this evening. We got two nations on here to pray for, America and Israel.
That's funny.
I pray for the whole country.
The whole world.
The whole world.
Yeah, the whole world's in trouble, yeah.
It's all crazy.
Okay.
Got a reward on, look at her.
I got my mother-in-law on here, Wanda Carson. We
I
got
earned it.
we got Jim, Dora, Robin, and the kids. Are they here? Got them on here.
I'm sure we're gonna keep praying.
I remember
And-
Jimmy said,
Okay, we still praying about your ear, Jim.
When are you doing that, Jim?
You hear me now, Jim?
I can hear you.
Hey.
shot tomorrow.
You want to hand me your wallet?
I don't have a wallet.
He said, he's got his wallet too. Okay. Okay, we got that. We got Judy. Judy.
Yeah, pray for me. I'm feeling kind of sick.
Okay, I got you. Does anyone know David and Deborah Taylor?
I know Debbie.
I know then Debbie put on here David's test. Who? Jim does 11:15. Okay. We got Francis Wise, Connie Tackett.
They went to that funeral.
Okay. Okay. We got Ralph and Lambert and Ralph's grandmother.
No, Ralph's aunt fell and got hurt really bad.
Is not his grandmother?
No, it's his
Man.
She fell, broke her neck, messed up her face. She's 97 years old.
What's your name? Aunt what?
Duty,
Judy?
Duty, D-U-T-Y, Duty, like,
Duty, but with a D.
Did I? Well,
What did I
somebody said a funny. I don't know what it was, but I'll tell you the preacher cracked up. Okay.
I grew up with it. My cousin. Okay, say Debbie. They still call. She still calls. I'm gonna let her know that she's.
Okay. Okay.
What's next?
What was the last one I said, Judy? Okay, David and Deborah Taylor. Okay, Ralph and Lambert. You got Ralph's aunt. What's your name? Is it Judy? We're praying for you, Rosemary. We got Diane Newton.
That's somebody good Connie too.
Okay. We got
Connie going to the drug doctor? Is that tomorrow?
we got JG Moore and Donna Moore.
Well, JG is the funeral. That's Donna's husband. That's Jimmy Gale.
Oh, okay. So he's already gone.
He's deceased.
Deceased. Okay.
Is that the funeral where they?
Yes, that's where they're.
Jimmy Gale was Donna's husband.
And Bo gets out of the hospital tomorrow.
Okay. And we got All America's water systems. They're struggling with some stuff, ain't they? We got Suzanne's kids. We got Deborah, is it Thump?
Thumb.
What was it?
That's my thumb.
What was the name again?
My thumb.
What was it again, brother? Tell me what I said.
You said Deborah's thumb.
Oh, the thumb. I messed it up again. Deborah. Oh, it's her thumb. Okay, I got you.
Make that P a B.
Okay.
Dave, you're our entertainment.
And Charles Toby. What is it? Tall, is that A?
T-A.
Oh, I got T-O.
T-A-L.
Got along here. This guy's got a problem, I think. Okay, I guess reading the names once is enough, don't you think? Well, okay, if someone else wants to pray over the list, if you don't, who wants to?
You know, Dave, we do have a few scriptures that's got some interesting names tonight. I think I'll have you read them.
Oh, you big clown, you. I got one I'll pick. I'll pick that girl in the back with that starlight shirt on.
Shoot. Oh,
Oh.
watch them, Roy. What's your name?
What'd you say?
She said we should pray for Deborah's.
I said, let's pray for Deborah's thumb. Oh my gosh.
Oh, you're all on the internet.
We're gonna pray over these names.
Oh,
What's
shoot.
your name for entertainer? Jim?
Thank you so much, Lord, for today. Thank you for all the blessings you just poured us on us.
Oh, shoot.
We just love you so much, Lord, and we do pray for Deborah's thumb. You know, that everything was over. So we're praying that will happen. Lord, be with this family that lost their loved one. We just ask you to be with them, protect them, guide them, do what you need to do, Lord, in Jesus' name.
Oh, my.
I know, I would have a phone. No, you haven't stopped.
Oh, my goodness.
You got a problem. What's wrong with that preacher up there, right?
I don't know.
My wife looked over at me a few minutes ago and my wife looked at me a few minutes ago and she goes, this is Misfit Island. Oh, my goodness.
One thing's for sure, we had a good time.
Laughter doeth good like a medicine, and we've been known to overdose a few.
Oh, yeah, we have. OD today.
All right, let's knock her out. Verse 1 says in its opening statement, about that time. What time are we talking about? Question number 1. Somehow you skipped 1. You just dove right into 2 there, did you?
I don't pay attention to the question numbers.
Oh, okay. Well, how do you know? Because it says so.
Mine
Okay.
says the event it's events referring to the previous paragraph, 11:36-234, detailing the Antichrist's attempt to annihilate and destroy the people.
There you go. So you understand that as we move into chapter 12 of Daniel, that's referencing the same era, the same time frame, right? Okay. Dave Taylor,
Yeah.
why don't you read the Did You Know?
Up here at the front.
Yep.
There's some.
Let me read, did you know?
Yep,
Did you know? Is that verse 6?
verse 1.
Oh, verse 1, I can't even get that figured out. Verse 1 speaks of, is it Michael? I thought it was Michelle. Okay, Michael, archangel standing against the devil, and we need to be clear about something. The devil is not equal to Jesus nor God the Father. He is a fallen archangel and only wishes he were God. Satan was thrown out of heaven by angels, and those angels were doing God's will. Many false believers that Satan is somehow God's equal as an enemy, and this is false. Michael, the archangel, threw him out of heaven, withstood him concerning the bones of Moses, and will ultimately be the tool used to overthrow him in the end. Daniel 12:1.
All right, so I think we need to remember that, because I think a lot of times people think that because he stands in opposition to God, that somehow he's the antithesis of God, in the sense that, there's God as God, and then there's the enemy, Satan. Well, here's the thing. In case you didn't pay attention, when Satan came into the presence of God in Job, did he look at God and say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that? Or did he have to have God's permission to do anything? Right, exactly. So you have to remember that. And Satan is a created being. Now, he is an archangel, and archangels are the most powerful angelic force as far as the angelic beings go. Michael is an archangel. Michael the archangel is the head of all of God's armies. So he's like the brigadier general, if you will. Jesus is referred to oftentimes as the Prince of Hosts, but every once in a while, so is Michael. All right. So let's keep going here. Deborah, number 2, if you would.
What do Romans 11:26 and Zechariah 13:8-9 have to do with the statement in 12:1? And at that time, thy people shall be saved.
So let's start with the Romans one. You might want to hold your place here and go up to this. This has caused quite a bit of confusion for people who study the Bible, because they don't quite grasp all that's being said here. Now remember, there are numerous covenants in the Bible that God makes. Some he makes with the Jews, and some he makes with the Gentiles, and some he makes with both of them, right? Well, God has a covenant with Israel that is exclusive to Israel, and that is that they would never cease being a people before his eyes. All right. Now, he never said they didn't deserve to not cease being a people before his eyes, because they did. They should have been wiped off the face of the planet just like the rest of us should. But because of God's covenant with them, and he tells them, he said, I'm not saving you. I'm not doing this for your sake. I'm doing this for my name's sake. I'm saving my reputation because you haven't done anything in and of yourselves to make me look good. You've made me look absolutely bad. But for my own reputation's sake, that's why I'll do it. Because while we may not keep our word, and the Jews didn't keep their word, God always keeps his, right? Which is a good thing. And I don't know about your Bible. In my Bible, in Romans chapter 11, verse 25, right ahead of it, it says God's covenant with Israel. So it's reminding the reader that this is a covenant to Israel. And there in verse 25, he said, I don't want you, brethren, that you be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part has happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles come in. Now, he speaks of this as a mystery, and it is a mystery because a lot of people have a hard time with this. All right? And so all Israel shall be saved. That's the next statement. So does that mean that every single Jew that is living or has lived, or what, does that mean they're all going to go to heaven? Does that all mean they're all saved? Okay, so what's that talking about?
I thought it was talking about the Jews that were left towards the end of the time. And the ones that were repented and turned to Jesus and got saved. That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be left it.
I think it means
It'll be the remnant,
the remnant, thank
and any of us Gentiles that are followers of Christ too.
So just remember, all right, so we already know, what is it that God calls, we read this Thursday night in Revelation, what is it that God calls Jerusalem spiritually? What's it referred to as? Two things. It's referred to as Sodom and Egypt, right? Now, what is he saying? That they're good people? No, they're horrible. They're horrible. As a matter of fact, in the time of Antiochus Epiphanes, what group of people, what group of really high officials ended up allying with Antiochus Epiphanes? The high priest, Menelaus, and a bunch of other priests went with him. And in the end times, what do you think that these people are going to do? Now, Deborah and my wife, and I don't know if anyone else in here, they subscribe to a particular end time. What is it called?
headline.
End times headlines. And if you don't know anything about Phariseeism outside of the Bible, you might want to watch Jerusalem, because they're modern day Pharisees. When Ralph and Sherry and Lambert were over there several years ago, they were riding in a vehicle, and a bunch of pious Pharisaical Jews started throwing rocks, hollering Shabbat, 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 which means Sabbath, Sabbath. They weren't supposed to be traveling on a Sabbath. I mean, they're horrible. I mean, they really are. They're devout. You got to give them that. I mean, their faith is impeccable as far as what they believe. The problem is what they believe is absolutely wrong. I think you guys said on that end times thing, they're now praying for God to send his promised Messiah. Interestingly enough, he's going to eventually. It's just not going to be for them. Yeah, it's not going to be on their time, and it's not going to. And the thing is, they're going to end up falling for a fake Messiah. That's what's going to happen. Okay, so that's what Romans in a nutshell is talking about, is that there is a remnant. There is an actual remnant of Jews that do actually believe in Yeshua, Jesus as a Messiah. But in comparison to the number of Jews, it's very small. It's very small. Always has been, always will be. You know, it's always the way to think about it is always a little bunch out of a big bunch. You know, there's always just that little bit. And I hate to say it, but I think that same principle, at least in part, applies to the Christian church. I think there's a little bunch out of a big bunch in comparison. You know, I think there's a bunch of people that name the name of Christ and say that they serve God. But I think there are going to be a lot of them that stand there and say, we've done this in your name and done that in your name. And he's going to say, I don't know you.
Never knew you.
I never knew you. You know, and I believe that they're ultimately deceived in that. Right? What about Zechariah 13, 8, and 9, though? What about that one? Anybody read that? Somebody find it, read it for us. Uh-oh.
The whole land there, this is the Lord's declaration. 2/3 will be cut off and die, but a third will be left in it.
In verse
I
9?
will put
Mhm.
this through the fire. I will refine them as silver is refined, and to test them as gold is tested. They will call on my name, and I will answer them. I will say, they are my people, and they shall say, Lord is their God.
You know, if you ever go fishing, commercial style fishing that they would have done in days, like Peter was a fisherman, James and John were fishermen, right? You throw a net out there, you pull in all kinds of fish. Fishermen still do this today. You pull that net in, you got all kinds of fish, but all kinds of fish are not what you're after. You're after a specific type of fish. And then within that group of specific type of fish, you only want the good ones. So there's something called culling. And when you cull something, you get the whole mess together and you start getting rid of everything else. Now, Jesus talks about this. He gives us a parable of the tares and the wheat. He says the tare, which is a false wheat, T-A-R-E. It looks like wheat and everything, except that when it grows up and it finally is supposed to be time when it actually have the grain and the kernel and everything in it, it's not there. It's false. It's fake, right? And so he said, just wait, because don't pull them up, because you'll pull up the actual wheat with it. Wait until the time of the culling. When the culling comes, what's going to happen? He's going to separate the wheat from the tares, right? So, I mean, statistically, when you pull in, like for example, if you pull in 100 fish, if you kept 25 of them, you'd be doing good, because you would get rid of the bulk of them because they just don't fit, what it is. First of all, some of them are not even the type of fish that you're looking for. And the ones that are the type of fish, they're not big enough, or there's something wrong with them, or they're damaged, whatever. So by the time you call them all out, you've just got this smaller group from this larger group, right? Well, that's what Zechariah is talking about. When he's saying, I'm going to get rid of 2/3 and I'm going to keep 1/3, he's saying, you put them all together, but then you start the culling process and you start to realize. And I think, to be honest, that's the church by and large. You can take the church by and large and put it all in one basket and then start culling out those that really aren't following, really aren't obeying, really aren't doing what they're supposed to do. You're going to find a small bunch in the middle of a big bunch, right? And that's what Zechariah is talking about, all right? So at that time, the people shall be saved. What people? No? Okay. She says the Jews. Anybody else?
The Gentiles that are followers too.
Go back to Romans 11 and look at verse 5. Look at Romans 11:5. Somebody read that.
Even the south will grow powerful, but one of his commanders will grow more powerful.
Romans 11:5.
Oh, no.
I got it here. Let me read it.
Yeah, you got it? Yeah, read it for us.
In the same way, then there is also at the present time a remnant chosen by grace.
Okay. So there's a remnant chosen. Now, a lot of people have interpreted this. Calvinists interpret this meaning that it is a selection process by God, meaning you don't have anything to do with it. In other words, he'd go around this room and go, you're going to be saved, you're going to be saved, you're going to be lost, you're going to be saved, you're going to be lost, you're lost, you're lost, you're lost, you're saved. And it has nothing to do with us. But if you look at that particular verse in light of the gospel of grace, that's not true. Because it's not that God picks and chooses ones that are going to be saved and go to hell and ones that are going to be lost. No, he makes that determination based upon the determination we make about his grace. We either accept his grace and follow him, or we reject his grace and become his enemy. And that then in turn determines what direction we go, with him or without him. Right? And
Mine says a different thing.
what's it say?
Mine says it is the same today,
Mhm.
for a few of the people of Israel
Mhm.
have remained faithful because of God's grace.
Yes.
His undeserved kindness is choosing him. So
Yeah.
that's why I thought it was the Jews.
Yeah.
Because of that statement.
Well, Isaiah, and you don't have to turn here unless you want to, but in Isaiah chapter 10, verses 21 through 23, now we read this when we read through Isaiah. Let me reread it now. The remnant will return. That means they'll come back. The remnant of Jacob to the mighty God. That's who they'll come back to. For though your people, meaning the Israelites, of Israel, are as like the sand of the sea. In other words, that was his promise to Abraham. He said, Abraham, look out at the sand of the sea. Can you number the grains? No, he said, that's how many descendants you'll have. So in other words, So it's an innumerable amount of descendants, but he says, yet a remnant of them shall return. A small bunch out of a very large bunch will come back. The consumption decreed shall overflow with righteousness. So it's interesting because most of them will be consumed. And unfortunately, I think it's very true. All right, let's look at it. So if you take a family that have, they're all living, and if you get these big family reunions, you got 100 of them there. How many of them are actually decent people? Usually just a very small group.
Not many.
10, 20 of them out of 100 might be decent people, but the rest of them, with all due respect, are trash. I mean, for one reason or another, they've made a mess of their lives or whatever the case may be. So you see this, it's repetitory over and over and over. It's a small bunch out of a large bunch. And that's why we're told to strive, meaning that we need to fight with all we have, because if we sit back and think we're a shoo-in, the only thing we're sure of is probably getting deceived, to be quite honest, right? And with all due respect, like I spoke this morning about Fauci and COVID and all that, look at the vast majority of Christians who fell for that.
Yeah. Right.
Now, I mean, stop for a moment. And listen, if you're here and you were part of that, it should be a staunch warning. Look at the people that fell for that lie, right? And don't get me wrong. I mean, it sounded very believable in some instances, didn't it? I mean, the science seemed to be behind it, and the logic seemed to be behind it, and all that sort of thing in many instances. Any logical thinker could look, at least to some degree, and go, yeah, you have a point there. However, when you stepped back and looked at the whole thing, there was way too many holes in it. There was way too much doubt in it. When you go and you're supposed to be part of a jury that's hearing a case, you have to convict someone when there's no reasonable doubt. If there's any reasonable doubt, you can't legally convict them, because that means there's still questions unanswered. Questions must be answered. And that was the problem with COVID and Fauci and the government and the vaccine and all that. There were too many unanswered questions, wasn't there? And any critical thinker knew that. All right, so what's that? Oh yeah. Fear is a tremendous motivator. Yeah. Oh yeah. Which I personally, and I'll be honest with you, I think it's personally kind of funny. It wasn't too long ago they were talking about the hantavirus. Where'd that go? What happened to it? Where'd it go? 1 minute it's in the news and it's going to be the next and then you don't hear a stinking thing about it. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. Fauci happened. And all of that. And it was another one of those stupid scams. And they went, better not do that right now. All right? Okay. Let's keep going. Dora, why don't you do number 3, please?
What book in verse 1 is meant when it says, everyone that shall be found written in the book?
Well,
The book, the Lamb's Book of Life.
okay. Everybody agree? Do you know how many places you can find that in Scripture, or at least a few of them? Psalms 56:8. Psalm 69:28, Luke 10:20, Revelation 20:15, Revelation 21:27. They all speak of God's book or his book of life. All right, so that we understand this, and we're about to read this, as a matter of fact, when we get into Ezra chapter 2, we're going to see something called the citizen role. Matter of fact, hold your place there in Daniel and back up there to Ezra. Remember, it's before Psalms. It's Ezra, Nehemiah, and then Esther. So those are the 3 books before. And go to Ezra. And if you look at chapter 2, mine actually has a little title, says Captives Returning from Exile. Take a look at about the first 60 verses. What do you see? Names. It's almost like being back in the book of Chronicles, isn't it? And Numbers. Descended to this one. Okay, what is that? That's called a citizen role, right? What is a citizen role? What is the purpose of that? Because we know in the New Testament, Luke does the same thing. Now remember, there are 2 genealogies given for Jesus. Matthew does it and Luke does it. What do they do it for? Why do they give these genealogies? Why do they give these citizen roles? Now in Matthew and Luke, the citizen role is given to establish who Jesus is, both earthly and heavenly. One traces him back through the Davidic covenant and Abrahamic covenant, and one traces him back to actually God's son, to show who he is, right? Shows both his covenant right in humanity and his covenant right in divinity. All right. So why in Ezra do they, as they're going back now after this 70 years of exile in Babylon, why is this citizen roll given? Because if your name's not on the roll and you can't prove your citizenship, you can't claim what's yours when you get there. So if you get to heaven and he opens up this, what we refer to as the Lamb's Book of Life, that citizen roll, if your name is not in there, remember, he told one of the churches in Revelation chapter 2, he said, I'll blot your name out of the book. I'll blot it out. And if they blot the name out, that means that you will not receive. You no longer have an inheritance. Remember, the New Testament especially talks about us having an inheritance. When they were leaving Babylon to go back, the land has laid desolate and waste for actually just over 70 years. I mean, it's destroyed. They got to rebuild everything. Well, their ancestors, they have ancestral homes there, but they have to prove ownership. And the only way you can prove ownership is through lineage or citizenship roll. Okay? Well, interestingly enough, when Antiochus came in, and Antiochus came in, they lost a bunch of the rolls, and in AD 64, all the rest of them were burnt to the ground. So they technically don't have them now. They've had to try to piecemeal them back together as best they can. Okay, so they don't actually have the citizen roles anymore, which is why so many, especially the Palestinians, are stepping up going, wow, we're children of Abraham too, which technically they are. They are the descendants of Abraham, just the wrong side, right? They were the side that God rejected, right? Okay, let's keep going. Cindy, why don't you do number 4 for us?
Verse 2 says, many of them that sleep. What is this referencing and what is it talking about?
Okay, read that verse 2, will you?
Many of those whose bodies lie dead and buried will rise up, some to everlasting life and some to shame and everlasting disgrace.
So, era-wise, era-wise, what era is this talking about? Because this is very curious. This is one of those times where the Bible does something, if you don't pay attention, it'll get by you. What era are we talking about here? Okay. Do you know what resurrection it's talking about?
When Jesus comes back and the dead and healed.
Okay. That's part of it. Have you ever noticed when you're reading scripture sometimes? All right. So you're reading about Moses, and he kills an Egyptian, and he flees from Pharaoh, right? And he goes out into the desert. And then all of a sudden the next verse goes, and 40 years go by. Okay, we just had a 40-year time jump from this verse to this verse. 40 years. How old are you, Robin?
45.
5 years less than how old you are. 40 years. All right, the Bible just did one of those, and if you're not paying attention,